It feels so different because I've done this a million times, but never that far away from the camera.
Yeah, and now you're standing up as well.
Yes, I have legs. Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Lola. Welcome to my corner. Today, you are in my kitchen, and it is very small. Like, I have a really tiny kitchen. Also, my kitchen is really ugly from every single angle that isn't exactly this one. So yeah, also I have no lighting, so this video is very dark. But I guess this is kind of my vibe since I've done Gothicana. I feel like I have been on a gothic streak. Anyway, if you see any spiders, these are like, I want them here. These are my friends. Yeah, that's it. So today I wanted to talk about like some books that I've read and some books that I want to read. And I thought about doing that and doing my birthday cake too, because you guys don't know this, but I am an excellent baker. So I wanted to do everything at the same time, like talk about the books and cook. And I feel like this is really gonna expose how short my attention span is. Don't be deceived. I read a lot, but I have a really bad attention span, so this video might be very weird. But anyway, let's get on to it.
So first of all, preheat the oven to 350 and prepare.
350 is how much in the metric system? What the fuck is that come on to?
That's around 180.
Okay, 180. I can do 180. See, you could have started with 180. Also, by the way, I will be linking this recipe down below. I'm not gonna finish the video in this steak. I'm not gonna finish the cake in this steak, so I will give my verdict on whether it is a good cake on the description. But I mean, it has mayonnaise. How can it be bad? 203 grams of flour. And the first book that I want to talk about is the first that I've read from this batch of books. So I have read Jezebel Eyre. So Jezebel Eyre is not super famous, I think, like in the like book talks, or I don't know, I don't really have a TikTok, but I don't think it is like the most famous one, but I do know that it is very beloved, and I had like raging reviews on it. So I got my dirty little paws on it, and it is amazing. Like, maybe I'll do a full video review on why I love Jezebel Eyre, but I think it is really worth a try. So one of the things that I heard people talk about is that they wanted to read Jezebel Eyre, but they felt that the book was not accessible enough because the book has a couple words that are in Arabic, and the book has like some like food items and stuff. And I feel like, okay, this is a valid concern, but so many like fantasy books have like literally made up languages. Like Tolkien made up a language and people speak it. Game of Thrones has a made up language. Like lots of fantasy books have made up elements, and I don't feel like Jezebel Eyre is more uncomfortable than any of those books that I mentioned. I have not read Game of Thrones, but I have read like Tolkien, and I don't think it is a bother, and I don't think like the quote unquote like different aspect of it should be something that you look down on, or like something that you're scared of trying. Because Sarah Hassan, the writer of this book, she is Egyptian American, and she includes Egyptian culture into this book. She uses to weave together the fantasy, and it is astounding. It's like, I have never read anything like it. I know that there are things like it, don't come from me, but she's the first one that I read that has it, and it is refreshing. I mean, I don't hate medieval European fantasy, but it does get tiring at some point. And Jezebel Eyre has an amazing protagonist. Like, the female main character for this book is absolutely amazing. The romance is really good. The yearning is really good, and I love this book. I'm very obsessed with it. This is a 5-star read for me, and I never rate anything 5 stars. Jezebel Eyre is a 5-star. Okay, so I actually fumbled the recipe. You are not supposed to mix the sugar with the dry ingredients, but oh well. So if you make this at home, please don't do it. Don't do what I did. But it's gonna turn out well, because you know what? The cake can feel that my heart is pure. My heart has no evil in it. So the cake will be fine. Anyway, we're gonna stick mayonnaise in it. So how could it possibly go wrong? But the other book that I wanted to talk about is actually one that everyone has already read, except me. I'm very late to the party. But it is Once Upon a Broken Heart. So this book is YA, and I feel like YA books have been getting kind of like a bad rep because I get it, you know, we like adult books that have like lots of bloodshed and war and like steamy scenes and all of that. But Once Upon a Broken Heart is a delightful piece of YA. It proves to me that YA is well and good. I feel like Once Upon a Broken Heart and The Cruel Prince are like way up there with like my best romance like books. This is actually really funny because as I was reading it, I was at one of my students' room, and she had like a big Once Upon a Broken Heart poster, and I was like, oh my god, that is so cute, I'm reading it too. And she looked at me and she said, yes, Lola, you gave me the poster, you also gave me the book. I had completely forgotten about it. But it is delightful. I've read it. I read the first and the second one. I'm actually waiting to read the third. Why does the measuring cup have like different milliliters for different ingredients? Like, it's because of density, right? I don't know. You're the smart one. Answer me.
But like measurements for
Yeah, like for example, this is 300 grams of rice, but it is 350 grams of cocoa powder.
oh yeah, they're different intensities.
Oh, see, I'm very smart. 1 tablespoon of vinegar, and let there be buttermilk. So you're supposed to add vanilla into this, but I am anti-vanilla. Like, I don't believe in the vanilla coat, the vanilla. I don't know. I just don't. I mean, I like actual vanilla extra that has the vanilla bean. I don't like the fake one. I think it tastes off, so I don't put vanilla in any of my stuff, and everything tastes normal. Like, they still taste good. You know what I mean? So what ingredients? What are we doing? Whew, that was not cute. How much?
How much is inside of
230, right?
so that's
That's exactly what I have. No, but it made like an awful sound. Like, it sounded so bad. Okay, let me start mixing. So as I mix this, let's have a talk about my newest obsession. And I know that a lot of people do say like, oh, I'm obsessed with this, I'm obsessed with that. No, but everyone that knows me at this point knows that I am actually very obsessed with Emily Wilde. Like, I'm very, very obsessed with Emily Wilde. So everyone was talking about it, and everyone was like, oh, Emily Wilde is really, really good. And then like, one of my friends, she's actually really cute. She was saying like, oh no, but I didn't enjoy Emily Wilde. Like, I read it, but I was not really in the mood to read the second one. And I was like, oh, that's a pity, because I really like the premise of Emily Wilde. But then I got Emily Wilde. I'm obsessed with it. So the first one that I read is the Emily Wilde Encyclopedia of Fairies. This book is worth it. This book is really worth it. And I have also read Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands, which is the second installment in the series. The series currently has 3 books, but there's a 4th coming. So, why do people dislike this book? People dislike this book because it is a format that a lot of people don't like, which is a diary format. So we don't hear from any other characters. We only hear from Emily, and she's kind of like writing her diary, and she's like studying the fairy and all of that. And Emily is very weird. Like, there's no like two words about it. Emily is really, really weird. So all of the book, like the two books, happen from the point of view of Emily. And she is not a reliable narrator. And I know a lot of people don't like it because Emily is very like socially inept. But I do feel like she has a nice growth as a character, and as someone that is also very socially inept, I identify with her so much. Other people think it is slow paced. I do agree that it is not super high stakes, but I feel like both books have like an intensity that grows until the middle of the book, and then the second half is like a somewhat medium to high intensity, you know. Of course, it's not like something that's gonna get you to the edge of your seat, but it is something that made me like actually giggle, laugh, and like, oh, so many times. I love the main couple. I love Emily. I love Wendell. I love them to death. This book is really, really good. It is also one of my top books of the year so far. Into the mayonnaise oil mixture, right? So oh, I need to show off. I feel like because I am someone that knows how to break an egg with one hand, I feel like this is a skill that I don't show off as much as I should, but I can. And it's really stylish, like, shut up. I am really cool. You should give me more credit for how cool I am. So Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies is not, and I can see that, everyone's cup of tea. It is kind of, because this is the thing, it is not actually hard. I feel like it reminds me of Catabasis, and everyone is like, oh, but Catabasis is this, Catabasis is that, because Catabasis also has kind of like a fake academia setting because it makes up a lot of stuff, and that is also kind of what happens in Emily Wilde. Like, she holds like studies on fairies that of course don't actually exist, because fairies don't actually exist, I mean, as much as we know. And there is like the whole study, you know, of like fairies, which is dryadology, and it is nicely well put together. Like, the world building is really, really cute, because it makes you kind of believe this, and I feel like it's a very fresh approach, because there's like this regular approach that we have to fairies and to like fays, which are like the new vampires, you know, but this is like a very different approach. So I feel like this book is very refreshing. I get it that it's a little weird, it is a little hard, not because it is hard, but like it's a little hard to swallow for a lot of people, but I personally love it. So I guess if you have the same profile as me, like you love Catabasis, you love like weird, quirky books, you will love Emily Wilde. No, but I completely like lost where I was. um, but what I was saying is, okay, just because you read a certain genre, or not even just read, just because you enjoy a genre of music, of movies, or like any type of art or like entertainment, that doesn't make it so that you can't access or enjoy another one, and also doesn't make it so that one is better than the other. This is really, really dangerous, and people should not be grading books on like how good or bad they are for your intellectual, like for their intellectual value, because there is such a thing as a book with a higher intellectual value and a thing like as a book with a lower intellectual value. But that doesn't mean that like consuming books for entertainment, good night for you too, dog, is bad. You know, it's not necessarily bad. And it is very weird that people are so caught up in this that they basically say, well, you are not a real reader unless you do X, Y, Z. Like, I hear a lot of people say like, oh, audiobooks are not real books. And first of all, how are blind people supposed to read? Like, also, if you're blind, like you have never experienced a book, if you only listen to audiobooks, how are people that have busy schedules, how are people that have a hard time concentrating supposed to read? Why is that not a real book? If you read a book to a kid, you're going to tell the kid, oh, you haven't actually read this book because I read it for you. So like all kids, up until they learn how to read, they haven't experienced a book before. Anyway, I'm getting like ahead of myself here, but this book like has brought like many nice topics. It is very charming. It is also very, very weird, but I did enjoy it. It reminded me of The Vegetarian a bit. For no specific reason. I can't pinpoint exactly what about it reminded me of it, but it kind of did. No, but I'm really gonna miss the World Cup. Ugh.
Oh, it's gonna be such a shame, but
We are going to brew some coffee. I think this coffee is gonna like really add into it because it is like really nice tasting coffee. I don't wanna sound like a coffee snob, because I am not one. I am just like, I'm very nonchalant about enjoying coffee. I'm like a very nonchalant coffee enjoyer, you know, like I'm cool about it. I'm not weird. Anyway, so we have 3 tablespoons of coffee, and then I'm gonna get some boiling water up in here. And this is exactly the amount. It's exactly 1 cup of boiling water. Oh, it smells so good. I don't know if there's like an actual benefit to doing it slowly rather than done. I mean, there's everything. Everything about coffee, there is like something about it. Yeah.
I was gonna say, just add in the remaining dry ingredients.
Oh, I already added all of the dry ingredients.
Oh, okay.
We are freestyling this recipe, okay? Okay, now I want to talk about the books I want to read. So a few of these are kind of obvious. So A Curse for True Love is the 3rd and last book currently because we're gonna have another one. But I don't think it's a continuation to the story. I think it is more of like a spin-off or like another story. But this is the ending of the Once Upon a Broken Heart storyline, and I'm very excited because book 2 ended on a huge, huge, huge cliffhanger, so I can't wait for this. Also, I want to read The Jesuit Crown, which is the final installment on the Jesuit AR series. It is a duology. This book is huge. I really want to get into it, but it is like, how many pages does it even have? I feel like this is going to be bigger than Road of Thorns. This is 656 pages. But I gotta give it to her because she could have pulled the trilogy with this amount of pages could have pulled as a trilogy, but she decided to give us a duology, and I really respect that when authors know when it is time, you know, to end it. So those are like, I don't have that much to talk about them because they are like just the ending of the books that I have already been reading. So now some, not exactly one-offs, but let's say the beginnings. Light from Uncommon Stars was one of the book options that appeared at my book club for last month, like for Pride Month, because this book has, I believe, both trans and sexual representation. I'm gonna double fact check that, but I really, really like the premise of this book. Is about a woman that made a deal with the devil, and unless she finds like other victims to like steal her soul, she's gonna lose her own soul. I've had mixed reviews on it, but I really want to read it. It's like, it won some awards. I believe it was a finalist for the Hugo Awards, so I know this one has lots of prizes. I'm really glad I snatched a copy. I was gonna read it on my Kindle, but I managed to get like the physical copy of it for a really nice price, and I'm happy because I prefer reading physical copies of this book. So if this book does turn out to be really, really nice, I will bring a review. Okay, I poured the hot coffee off camera because I forgot to press play. I mean, it's not particularly exciting footage. I can recreate it. I just did this, you know, but there was coffee coming out of it, and I'm mixing it. But anyway, as I was saying, the last two books that I have on my physical TBR, not actually my physical TBR per se, because my physical TBR is like my house, because I have books in like every single room of my house. One time a friend of mine came and she was like, hey, when are you gonna start like putting books on your bathroom, you know, make it all of the rooms. So my physical TBR is probably a couple hundred books deep, but these are like the ones that I want to read like in the immediate future. And for that, I have this Woven Kingdom. So once I read Jazet Air, I got a taste for the Arab world building, and I was like, nah, I need more. And also, this is like an opportunity for me to show off, because Jazet Air has some terms in Arabic, and I am learning Arabic because I date a guy that is Arab. But in my defense, he's also learning my language, so I am not uncool about it. He's also being very uncool about it, so we are technically both of us cool. But anyway, I am learning Arabic, and I just find it really interesting. Oh, by the way, the Woven Kingdom is not in Arabic at all. It is in Urdu, actually. Just don't mind me. But it has a little bit of a similar vibe to Jazet Air, and I really looked forward to it. Like, I usually when I go read a book, I like to not know a lot about it, but I do know that this one has many adjectives, including destiny, magic, danger, revolution, tortuous romance, heart-wrenching, high stakes, and complex. And those are the things that draw me in. So I'm really excited to get into this Woven Kingdom. Now, for the last book of my TBR, we have something that I don't usually go for, but something about it. I am not sure if I saw some fan art of the book and I was like interested in it, but it looked really cool and I decided to go for it. So I don't know a lot about this book, but it is the Book of Ezriel. I'm not sure if I'm gonna love it. I'm not sure if it's gonna be a hate read, but something about it catched my eye. So this was actually really funny because when I went to buy it, I was with my roommate, and I was like, but I'm not sure if I should get it because this book has a skull in it, and she was like, huh. And it's because I hate bones. Like, I actually hate, like, I have a very big phobia of bones. I hate bones, and I don't like things that have skulls in it because I hate bones so much. And then I asked my boyfriend, like, I'm saying, oh, I'm gonna get it, and he immediately texted me, but are you sure you are okay with the bones? So I am kind of sad that everyone knows my weakness, and they know that I am easily irked by bones. I was actually considering rebinding it, but the book is kind of bulky, so I'm not sure if I like should rebind it because then it's gonna be kind of heavy. So I might scrap book on top of it. So if I do show up with like some stickers on top of it, you know that it's because I hate bones. But I know nothing about this book. I know like the tiniest amount of details from the blurb. I never read the blurb, by the way. When I read a book, I like to go in blind. So yeah, I'm gonna see if I do end up liking it. Okay, so the cake mix is completely mixed through. It looks so cool. I think I'm gonna get a close-up because it's so dark over here. I feel like I should do it closer. But oh, this is heavy. See, this is the cake mix. Shut up. It looks amazing. I feel like we have it. I feel like we made it. Like, I feel like after everything we went through today, we finally got to do this cake. Okay, now I have two parchments. I shouldn't talk when I'm outside of the frame, right? That is very weird. I should talk only when I'm inside the frame. Sorry about that. So I am gonna grease the pans, but here's the deal. I'm supposed to cover it with parchment paper, but I have a problem. I mean, it's not exactly a problem, but I only have pattern parchment paper. Like, I don't have like a regular parchment paper. I have the cute one that has bees on it. But I mean, it's gonna work just fine. I think I just have to cut it up and then it will be just like regular parchment paper, I guess. So it took an embarrassingly long amount of time, but I have managed to parchment line these cake tins. So it's supposed to be 3 cake tins. I don't know how, I don't know. I have these 2, and I'm gonna probably have to do this 2 more times because my cake tins are tiny. So I actually might end up with 2 cakes worth of cake. Oh well, I hope my friends come hungry. So let me pour it in. Oh, this is gorgeous. Should I eat it? I know I'm not supposed to. Okay, now I'm gonna pop these in the oven for 30 minutes or so. Okay, I'm not gonna like end the video. I was gonna say thank you so much for watching, but the video is not done. I am gonna time travel to tomorrow. I think I'm gonna do the same outfit so it looks cute, but I'm not sure I'm gonna recreate this makeup because I'm not sure I'm able to, because this makeup looks amazing and I think it was a one-off thing, and that is really sad because the lighting is not picking up how cute it is. So tomorrow I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna make raspberry jam, chocolate ganache, and whipped cream. And then on the day of my actual birthday, I'm gonna decorate it. Okay, so see you guys tomorrow, I guess. Hello, welcome to day 2. I wanted to make the video transition as seamless as possible, so I'm wearing the same outfit. I'm trying to recreate the makeup. I'm not sure if I got it. Also, the light is like, I still haven't changed my light bulb. And I was like, it's gonna be okay because even though I'm gonna record at night, I have a ring light. And then I tried to turn it on and it is dead, but at least it will be cohesive. So for today, my cakes are already baked. I'm gonna show you the cakes in a minute. And I'm gonna do the filling. So for this cake, I'm gonna do raspberry jam and chocolate ganache. And I'm also gonna talk a little bit more about books. So first things first, we're gonna need a pot. This is not the best pot for it. You should try to do something that's a little bit, wider. But this is the pot that I have clean, and it's been a long day. Okay, so we're gonna make it work. So I'm gonna do the pot. And the rule for making jam is that as much you have of fruits you put in of sugar. Lola, that's a lot of sugar. Then make a salad. This is how you make jam. That's how it is. Unless you're doing gelatin or other this is how you make regular traditional jam. And yes, it has a lot of sugar because that's how you preserve the fruit. So you don't make the rules. You just do that. So I have frozen raspberries because fresh raspberries are very finicky. But that doesn't really change anything. I think maybe the frozen takes a little bit longer because of the extra liquid, but I'm not gonna thaw them. I'm just gonna use them frozen as is. So let's see how much I have. Exactly 301 grams of raspberries. So I am putting a little bit more raspberries than I want to have of jam. Even though I'm adding sugar, because I want to strain this jam. I know I like bits of raspberry in regular jam that I'm gonna put on toast and stuff, but because I'm doing a cake and it's a very special thing, I want to strain it, not because of the actual fruit pieces, but because I don't like the tiny little raspberry seeds. Those I want my cake to have a very smooth consistency, so I will be straining it and I will lose a little bit of weight on that. So to that pot, I'm gonna put sugar that's a little bit coarser than regular sugar. If you do regular sugar, it is gonna work, but it's not gonna be the same. Just get the jam sugar. Trust me on this one. since it has 300, I'm gonna do 300. So if you actually want to do this recipe with a little bit of sugar, because it has 300 grams of raspberries, like I could possibly do 270 or even 250, and the recipe would still work. I'm gonna do full sugar because I don't believe that calories count on your birthday. But if you're trying for like an everyday thing and you think this is too much sugar, you can cut, I believe, like a quarter, a fifth of the sugar, and it will still be. I mean, don't quote me on this. I have been making jam for a while, and I have used less sugar on a stretch, and it doesn't change the consistency that much. To this mixture, I am going to add a third ingredient, which is lemon. The amount of lemon is a little bit like non-specific. Like usually I don't do huge batches, so I usually always do half a lemon. I never do like small batches either. So to this amount of fruit, I think I'm gonna have like at least like 500 grams of jam. I do half a lemon. If I'm doing more, I would do more, but I can't give you guys like specifics. You can just follow your heart. Too much lemon won't be like that big of a deal, but no lemon might be a big of a deal because you need to cut in all of that sweetness. Okay, I have my lemon. I know this is technically a lime, but this is a lemon to me. Okay, this is a lemon to me. If you guys think this is a lime, that is okay, but to me this is a lemon. So I'm gonna use half of this lemon slash lime. You have no power. It's a lemon. And I'm just gonna put like my hand underneath it just to be sure that I don't get like any seeds, you know, or anything. I could do a lemon squeezer, but I'm a strong, independent woman. Like, I can squeeze my own lemons, you know. So I'm gonna take this mixture into the fire. I'm gonna do medium fire. You can even do high. However, if this is your first time, I highly suggest you do it like over low heat and take your time with, because it very quickly caramelizes, and if it caramelizes, like it turns into like, it gets like very brittle and hard in consistency. So when making jam, always like, if you think it's gonna be like less cooked than you want, go for that instead of having it more cooked. Also because if it burns, it has a horrible taste, and like all of the jam gets a horrible taste. Anyway, I've been talking food for too long. I'm gonna talk books again. So not my last video, the last part of this video was yesterday, and I started actually today A Curse for True Love, and I am a third of the way through. Not because I actually had a lot of time today, but mostly because of how fun this book is and how interested I am, because the second one ended in like such a cliffhanger. Like, these books are so worth it. I know they are YA, but like, go read something without smut. You know, it's okay. I'm not gonna die if the characters don't frick. This is so good. Like, this is literally so good. Like, I know like how every book has like a person that says, oh, it's a page turner. This is a page turner. I feel like if I didn't have a lot of things to do today, I wouldn't finish this book on a day. That's how good it is. And I'm really excited to like see how the story is gonna unfold. And I'm actually also excited because since I bought this recently, this has a little bit of the next book, which is The Alchemy of Secrets. The other book that I wanted to talk about is actually one that arrived today, and it gets into the same category of like books I bought and I know absolutely nothing about, and it is Done and Dusted, which is I guess also one of my favorite expressions, along with Dunyan Rings. I love Dunyan Rings. I like Done and Dusted too. This is a cowboy romance. Like, the book is very gorgeous. I really like the design project on this one. It's something modern. I don't usually go for modern, so I usually like to have like books like these are a little bit of a palette cleanser. This is from the Rebel Blue Ranch series by Lila Sage, and I've heard actually good things about this book. I know they are like on a series, and I believe this is the first one of those, so I am excited to maybe get onto it, like, in between, like, one of my more heavy reads. I'm reading a few heavier, like, non-fiction books this month, so I feel like this will be a nice palette cleanser. So, the next filling we're gonna make is a chocolate ganache, and a chocolate ganache has a similar vibe to the jam, in which we will do the quantities to be exactly the same. So the same amount of chocolate, I'm gonna use the same amount of cream. And I'm gonna mix those together. I'm not gonna be super worried about consistency because usually when you chill ganache, it gets like very stiff. Specifically this one that is a 1:1 proportion. And I'm gonna whip it so it stays like really nice and fluffy for the filling. Maybe I won't whip it, I'm still considering, but I really loved whipped ganache. Maybe I won't need to, maybe I will have a lot. But I feel like it's a little less heavy than like actual just ganache. So first, I need a container that needs to be microwavable. That is kind of harsh around here. So I have a little bit more of cream than I have chocolate, so I am going to weigh the cream first. So let me put it in there. Oh yes, this is just like heavy cream. I should probably cut the part out that I make noises while I squish the cream.
No, I think it gives it flavor.
You think so?
Donut doesn't is a 4.
It's a 4 out of 5. This innocent looking baby is a 4 out of 5. I'm gonna have some fun. Anyway, this is my 183 grams of cream. So fun story. I made my boyfriend buy the ingredients for me, and he accidentally bought ricotta instead of heavy cream. But I ended up making like a really nice pasta dish with it. So it was really nice in the end. Okay, 183 of cream. Let's try to put that same amount of chocolate. 100. Perfect. So you don't need to do this precisely, by the way. I'm doing this because, I don't know, something undiagnosed. But yeah, just like down to 5 grams of, the same level. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pop this in the microwave. Usually it is safe to melt chocolate into 30-second intervals, but my microwave is really weird. Like sometimes I need to defrost chicken and it takes like 7 minutes. Sometimes I put in 3 and my chicken comes cooked. So I'm gonna do 15 seconds just to be safe.
No, it's really good. I can't lie.
So now I have done this. This is like 30 seconds. You're gonna mix. So this is the thing. Once you're doing ganache, you're like, oh, why am I gonna mix this? Like it's clearly not melting. You need to mix it. You're not mixing it so it's gonna be perfectly smooth. You're mixing it so it doesn't burn. So even if it feels like you're doing this, like you're moving around a little bit the chunks of chocolate into the cream, you still gotta do it. Don't make the rules. So I'm gonna give it a nice mix. My spatula. Try to, break it off a little bit. And put it again, another 30 seconds. Well, this is the thing. I am basic and I am free with that knowledge. So yesterday I couldn't quite finish my thought, but I was talking about like the distinction. I'm gonna get real serious here right now. The distinction about literature and how bad it is that like some people like to go like, oh, this is good literature, this is bad literature, and if you read this, you are not a true reader. And I have expressed my thoughts about that. And whenever someone goes like, oh, this is not a real book, you are reading porn, I always get like very upset, and I try to convince the person, and I'm like, oh, it's not bad. And I wanted to talk about a book that I feel like I had all the reason to be upset with, like I had all of the reason to say, this is a horrible book, and this is kind of insane. But then I thought about it a little bit, and I changed my mind. So currently I am reading Kiss of the Basilisk. So you might be thinking, Lola, why are you reading The Kiss of the Basilisk? Everyone knows it's a bad book. Everyone knows it's going to be a hate read. And to that I say, I read Gothic Hannah. Kiss, there is not a level I won't stoop to. No, don't quote me on this. There are things I will not do. But yeah, there are very few levels I won't stoop to. So I decided to give Kiss of the Basilisk a try. And this is the thing. The common consensus about Kiss of the Basilisk is that it is a really bad book and it is only smut. And I wanted to say, and I will of course, go in deeper because I haven't finished the book. I'm about a quarter of the way in. Kiss of the Basilisk is bad objectively, but not because of the smut. The smut is not the thing that makes Kiss of the Basilisk a bad book. Kiss of the Basilisk is a bad book because it is poorly written, but not because of the sex. And I feel like actually, in terms of smut books, Kiss of the Basilisk is really interesting. And I will have to chop up my opinions a little bit because otherwise my things will burn. But anyway, another 30 seconds in the microwave. So the premise of Kiss of the Basilisk is sort of simple. According to my boyfriend, and if I'm wrong, you can blame him. Kiss of the Basilisk was originally like a series of small erotica tales, and then because people really liked it, they were like, oh, you should do a book about it, and then the author decided to put it in a book, which explains a little bit why the book is not the most cohesive piece of literature to ever grace God's green earth and all. However, I do think that the premise of it is really interesting. So we are following this character that is called Temperance, which gives religious background, virtues and stuff. So her name is Temperance and she goes by Tem, and that is deeply upsetting because if you ever played Undertale, you know that there is a character who is a girl that is also a dog and her name is Tem, and she's a very goofy character and she's literally all I can think about while I read this book. Tem, yeah, so Tem's whole thing is that she's a chicken farmer, and I'm not kidding, this is her whole personality. She constantly talks about being a chicken farmer, and then the prince needs to choose a wife from the peasant girls, and the basilisks, who the humans were in war with, are going to train the girls so one of them can marry the prince. And what are the powers of the basilisks, you may ask? Well, sex. Somehow that is very powerful. I mean, they turn people to stones, but mostly they have sex, and they can be defeated by the crown of a rooster, which is a very silly Achilles heel. But I digress. So Tem goes to be trained by the basilisks to see if she has a chance, of marrying the prince. So she meets the basilisk, and I'm not even kidding. This is exactly what happens, okay? I might have to blur a little bit of this because this is very dirty. Let's say they meet in a cave, and then they decide to change into their birthday suits together as a bonding experience, and then they each play with themselves, juggling. They juggle, they have lots of juggling and they juggle with each other. And then the snake guy is juggling, and then he holds a ball that he was using to juggle in his hands. And she's like, oh wow, this juggling ball is so beautiful. It is white and it looks like pearls, and it's neither a solid or a liquid. And he's like, well, if it is beautiful, it is just like you. And she goes, this is the first time a man has called me pretty ever, which is depressing, by the way. And then he does a magic trick in which he takes the juggling ball and he creates, how can I say this? Something that she can wear, in her special place. And then he says, wear this in your special place at all times because it will connect us. And then he sends vibrations to that toy that she's keeping in her special place. And she walks around 24/7 with the toy, which is insane, by the way, and probably something that would like send a regular person into shock, you know. And that's a health hazard. Don't do that, you know, at home. What I was saying is that basically the basilisk, the snake guy, is supposed to train her into being really good at sex. But he never has sex with her, and she gets really upset about it. She's like, how dare you not have sex with me? That's so horrible. I feel completely betrayed. And she's like actually upset about it. And this is like where I am. And then she meets the king, and she's like, oh, I am just an insecure chicken farmer. But then she sees the king, and she's like, what are you? like she is at the same time insecure and like bratty, you know, to the point that she gets unbearable. So my ganache is really nice and smooth. I need it to cool down a little bit before I whip it. So it's already like pretty cool. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna strain my jam into a nice container. So this is important. The container needs to be able to withstand heat. Otherwise, it's gonna shrink up and it's gonna create a mess. I've been there before. So this is my bowl, and this is my strainer, and I'm gonna grab the jam. So as much as it is not cool to deal with warm jam, if you leave it in the pot, there is a chance that it keeps cooking because of how hot the pot is. So I recommend always like transferring your jam when it's ready. Also, it thickens up really fast when it's cooled down. So here we go. Oh, perfect. It fits perfectly. So you should try your best to be careful with this because it is piping hot. And sugar kind of sticks to your skin, especially in this temperature. So yeah, it will burn you and it will be hard to wash off. So really do be careful when handling like warm jam like this. So I'm just like, I have the spoon over here and I'm just like swirling it around to make sure that I'm getting all of the jam and leaving like only the seeds. And you could like eat it, like you could eat this part, like you don't like have to toss it or anything. It is completely edible. It is like really delicious still. It's just that, as I said, I want my jam to be perfectly smooth to make the cake eating experience as nice as possible. It's hot. My makeup is gonna melt off. So I have my mixer over here, my gorgeous girl, and what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna get the ganache. It is room temperature now, and I'm just gonna pour it in, you know, whoop, sliding, just pour it all in there, and it has my whisk attachment on it, and I am just going to beat it into the consistence I want. I'm gonna leave like some of this in the bowl, but it will not be wasted because I am gonna make my roommate test tasting. I don't taste anything I'm doing while I cook. I don't know why. I feel it's wrong. So I'm gonna have her taste this for me. My jam is in the fridge cooling down. I think probably overnight would be a little bit better. However, I don't have the time for that. I beat up my ganache, and now it is a very light color, and it's like a a very nice fluffy consistency. It's not super, like it doesn't hold itself perfectly. Like I would not flip this upside down, or would I? Actually, I would. So anyway, this is what it looks like. I need to take it off the kitchen because the kitchen is so dark. So this is what it looks like. It's almost like chocolate buttercream. So I'm gonna get my cakes and then I'm gonna cut them and we're gonna start assembling the cake so we can decorate tomorrow because yes, this is a 3-day process. We're not finishing this today. So these are the cakes I baked yesterday. They have been resting in my fridge. So now they're nice, cool and very firm. So what I have here is just like a cake ring. It is exactly the same size as my cake pans. So I'm gonna put the cake in here just to like press it a little bit and make sure that it has like a very nice structure when I'm putting it together so it doesn't like wobble to the sides. Over here I have a plate. You could do this like directly on the cake board, but since I'm gonna be flipping it upside down, it's not like really a problem. So I'm just gonna put this because it's easier to fit it in my fridge. So I have the cake ring, and I am going to cut these cakes into equal slices of whatever. I'm not measuring stuff. Okay, so now I have a cutting board, the cakes, and this is just like a regular bread knife. So it is important that the knife is serrated, otherwise the cake will likely crumble. So let me just get this paper off. The cake is still so moist, like I gotta give it to this mayonnaise cake recipe. Really good. It's also sliding over. Gorgeous. Look at her. Guys, this is the prettiest cake I've ever did, and I did some very pretty cakes. So one of the advantages of leaving the cake overnight to cool is that it kind of holds the shape of the pan a little bit better. And this cake specifically is very, very moist, so that was kind of necessary. There are some like cake cutters that are kind of like floss that do this a little bit easier, but I have like very steady hands, so I don't like really mind it. If your cuts are usually wobbly, I would try to look for those. And also, this is like just my birthday cake. I'm not doing this professionally or anything. Oh, my roommate is gonna love this because I am cutting off the top and the scraps are ours. Mmm. Mmm. This is so good. I love this. Oh my god, this is so good. Insane. Oh. Amazing. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a cake part inside. Oh, so much cake, and it fits perfectly. Okay, so now on top of that, I'm gonna put some ganache. I haven't made up my mind if I will do a piping bag or if I will just like spatula it. Should I do a piping bag just so it looks like perfect? What is your opinion?
Should you get a piping bag just so that it looks perfect?
Yeah. I mean, might as well. There is a more effective way of doing it, but like I'm trying to show it off, so that's why I'm doing it like in such a goofy way. Bear with me, okay? I'm trying to be sort of helpful about this. I mean, I don't think like anyone should follow any cooking tutorials I post. I don't consider this a cooking tutorial. I just think like I happen to be cooking. Because like, why would you trust someone that is like baking a cake and like talking about snake smut? That feels like a poor choice, you know? Like, I feel like you should be ashamed of yourself if you're considering like following anything that I say. You should think about that. You should think about yourself.
You're taking a risk yourself, like that's not, you did not advise this.
Yeah. This is good. Okay, let's do it. Oh, this looks gorgeous. So I've done the ganache. Now what I'm gonna do is a little bit more of cake. Okay, perfect. Now what I have to, oh my god, I'm getting chocolate everywhere. What I'm gonna do is get the jam to put it in here right now. Tastes good. So I am doing kind of like not that much filling for a lot of cake. However, the cake is kind of like the main attraction. Like the cake is so moist. Like I'm not even joking. I've never seen a cake so moist. And
That is absolutely amazing.
Right.
Looking good.
And it is gonna be like covered in whipped cream. So that will be like lots of, that will be very sweet. So this is what I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna like weight it down a little bit just to make sure that the cake is gonna be like kind of very compressed, you know, in here. I'm gonna cover it a little bit and then I'm gonna use the old like cake pan to press it a little bit, you know, so that the cake is very, very, very pressed. And with this leftover cake, I'm just gonna like real quick whip up another test cake. So I will be back when I have it. This is my cake. It is completely like finished, like the basic structure of it. I put some heavy books on top of it just to press it down a little bit to make sure that it is gonna have like the structure that I want it to be. I'm gonna leave it like in the fridge to be pressed overnight, and then it's gonna be like really compact. You can use anything as weights. Of course, I'm using Alchemized because the book is really heavy, like philosophically and physically, you know. And then what I'm gonna do is that this is like the leftover cake that I made with the scraps. I'm gonna turn it and get some slices so I can make my roommate taste it to make sure that the mayonnaise cake was a good idea. So let me do that. Like it looks like in the best way possible, like a kid's cake, like something that you made for your mom on Mother's Day, you know. This is my test cake. Look how cute it is. So it is chocolate cake with whipped chocolate ganache and homemade raspberry jam. So I'm gonna make my roommate taste it for me.
Please. The perks of being a roommate.
Let me see if I can cut like a really nice slice. She's really scared of showing up on camera because she has her PJs. Don't worry, if you do show up, I'll like cut it off. Like I will, I will blur you out.
No, it's fine. I'll stay behind the camera.
Okay, let me have it. A teeny tiny slice.
Ah, so beautiful.
Look at it.
Thank you.
I'm waiting for opinions and she's just like going in for a second bite. I think this is a good sign.
That's a good sign.
She's doing the...
It's amazing. I just like that Cardi B meme, you know. Oh my gosh, so creamy.
So this is not my final product, but one of them. This is what I mean, like what it tastes like. And tomorrow I'm gonna like frost it in like dark forest green and some vibes. Because as I said, I am very obsessed with Emily Wilde, so I will be going for that vibe. But with that said, this is the end of my cooking vlog. I always wanted to do this, but now I know why I haven't. This is really, like, I'm really tired. While I was yapping, I think I've made like about 100,000 mistakes on the recipe, so I'm surprised that I've managed to scrounge up something edible. But I did want it to catch up, so thank you guys so much for watching this video. Enjoy like my roommate like eating noises in the background. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.